Hi, everyone. I see the number rising coming over from the main stage. And so I think I'm going to kick things off and get it started. Welcome to the case study room for nonprofits who are 500 to 5,000 monthly giving supporters, presented by GiveButter, known as your home for changing the world. As you all know, GiveButter equips nonprofits with modern fundraising tools, from the highest converting donation forms and the most payment options to events, auctions, and pages that delight donors and inspire action. My name is Kat. I work with Dana, and I'll be your host for this session. And we are diving into two fantastic case studies on how organizations have scaled their recurring giving programs and dramatically increased retention. So before I kick things over to Maggie, the first Maggie, just a few housekeeping reminders. If you'd like to turn on closed captioning, you can enable that with the CC button in the far right below the video frame. And then please do scroll down below the video to connect with the speakers, discover monthly giving resources from Dana, apply to that monthly giving mastermind scholarship sponsored by GiveButter that we have been talking about for 2 days, and to take advantage of that special VIP intensive offer. If you have any questions or comments, definitely drop them in the chat as we go, and we will have time for Q&A after the second Maggie's case study. We'd love for this to be as interactive as possible, so please drop your questions in the chat, and hopefully we'll have time to get to them. First up, we will hear from Maggie Doyne of Blink Now through a special pre-recorded session. She'll introduce us to a new approach to child sponsorship and cultivating a giving circle. So I'm going to go ahead and kick things off to Maggie Doyne.
Old traditional child sponsorship model into a child sponsorship model. I'm Maggie, I'm the CEO of Blink Now, and I'm just here to share want to share
Is the sound
everything
there?
I know so that it can ideally help you and where you are.
I'm going to start this over. I apologize.
I'm Maggie. I'm the CEO of Blink Now, and I'm just here to share a little bit about our work, how we moved from the old traditional child sponsorship model into a monthly giving program that has been thriving and successful and has kind of moved into a very cultivated, robust, engaged giving circle. It's been really effective for us. We've grown it over the last 5 to 6 years, and I just want to share everything I know so that it can ideally help you and where you are on your journey with giving, especially in regards to if you have a sponsorship model that you're looking to kind of move away from. So a little bit about us. We are an 18-year-old organization. We work with children at the center, and we're working in child protection, sustainability, education. It's a very integrative model that involves women and building communities from a community development perspective. But at the center of all of that is children, and how do we raise children so that we can end cycles of generational poverty. So it's a very child-centric model, and it's very much about services for children from the most marginalized backgrounds. So very sensitive, very needed, and definitely like a long time of engaged work because it takes multiple decades to raise a kid. These are some of the programs that we have, from career readiness to health and wellness programs. We work in the Karnali district of far western Nepal with an overarching global mission of quality care for children and inspiring others to move nonprofits in more of a direction of community grassroots modeling and work. So when we started, 18 years ago, it was definitely the time of like sponsor a child, enroll a child into school, support a woman, support a mother. And we were definitely kind of drinking that Kool-Aid, so to speak. We had a child sponsorship model. You could give $25 a month. I think in the first decade, we had to increase it to 30. And we had a group of donors who were giving that monthly or that annual gift to sponsor a child. As we moved into like our second decade of work, I would say that we started to run into some issues. One, some sponsors would stay with us lifelong, others would drop out, and that sent like a strange message to the kids. The second thing was that it was a lot of administrative work to be able to make sure that letters were sent, that correspondence could happen in a way that was safe, that didn't create like strange power dynamics or colonialism vibes between the donors or the supporters and the children. And we could really see that it was time to move away from that very one-dimensional portrayal of what needs are. So this is kind of where the sector is moving in general. There's some really great literature out there. We were fortunate enough to have a partner called She's the First, incredible organization, and there's really great work done by them and the Stanford Social Initiative to talk about these issues and why we need to move our donors and our sector away from this very one-dimensional way of giving. So I think everybody knows the inequity, that consent issues with child sponsorship, and the limited ability to fundraise for things that you might need the most, because it definitely pigeonholes you into like only being able to use your funding in that way. So what we did and what other colleagues in our field did is really just start to talk about this and educate our supporters on these issues and talk about the needs of what was really there and what we really needed to do to make this more immersive, more educational, more truly supportive, and truly in the best interest of the kids. So we moved to something called Roots. It's Giving and Growing Monthly. And we created sort of general ideas and general funds that we could direct towards different parts of our work, from school lunch, which is the $14 marker, to feeding a classroom or the entire school. We have an Empower a Woman model. We have a Give to Our General Needs model, and then we have the granting of a full scholarship. So it definitely gives us language and kind of direction for our supporters so that they can still have the agency and the autonomy to direct their gift, which is really helpful. But we're very open and we're very honest about how those monthly funds may change. Like one month you need to buy a uniform and the next month you have a medical crisis. Also, a 4-year-old has different needs than a 14-year-old. So it kind of allows you to build this more robust and honest picture of the journey that a student or a woman or a beneficiary goes on, and then allows you the autonomy and the sort of direction as an organization to figure out what that pool of funding is. We also talk about, honestly, like how amazing it is that we have that consistent support and that pool of funds that we can sustainably rely on. And we found that the champions for our organization, they want that for us. They know that we're lean and mean and have a small team, and that having us have the ability to breathe, keep our heads above the water, relieve the administrative burden, and also use our funding ethically and where we need it the most is really important. And as soon as we started bringing our supporters on that journey, they were right on the boat with us, like right there, totally understanding. And that's been awesome. Everybody was so cool, like with being in a Roots community and and a part of something like a giving circle, that they were feeling cheered on and engaged and supported, and that they were really doing something as a cohort for us as an organization. So when we start to talk about pitching this to our supporters, we talk about all of the needs that go into our purchasing or what a child needs to thrive and grow, what a woman needs. And we really take pictures of like, okay, these were our needs for the month. This is what's in a Coppola uniform. This is what our counseling services look like. And we really talk about the impact of the services and programs and things that we provide. And that's been really helpful, so that they know where those monthly donations are going. And we're also really honest that sometimes we need to hire people to help us execute the vision and the mission, and that they're part of that journey for us, because we all need to run with dedicated social workers and teachers and staff and leaders. The next thing that we did is that we created a donor stewardship model that gave these very exclusive perks. So if you become a Roots member, often we'll have a monthly match running. So you get your donation match just to get people to sign up, or we have a t-shirt that we throw in, or a Women's Center good. The other thing that we do is talk about access to content. And again, this builds up sort of the idea that these donors are special. They're our biggest investors. They're so critical to us. We do Zoom calls with some of our team members where they get inside information, and they're almost treated as stakeholders meetings or board meetings. It's like, this is what we want you to know. This is where we're struggling. This is something really cool happening. This is something that we don't really share on social media, but that's happening beneath the surface. We also have an exclusive monthly email with stories that we can share with the smaller, closer knit community. And they get early access. They're the first people to know when something big is happening or something difficult is happening. We treat them kind of the way we value them. So they're always kind of the first to know, and this drives engagement. And again, they are really important, so we treat them that way. So this is kind of an example of some of that storytelling that we do. And just remember that, say you have 1,500 people in your monthly giving community, rather than having 1,500 individual emails to send or engagement points, you have one story that you're telling, and it's a success story or a pain point or something that you want to share, which is really cool. So you're building one piece of content, but again, you're building that pool from your 200 monthly to your 500 monthly donors to your 1,200 to your 2,000. And for us, we definitely had goals of our first year, we just wanted 200 people. Our second year, let's try to grow it to 500. And then we even shared that with our Roots community. We'd be like, we're trying to get to 1,000 monthly donors. So we brought them along on the journey of building that community so that they could then go peer to peer and get other people on board. We use language like give up your coffee or insider info, and just made it this fun thing that they could be a part of, just like they subscribe to their Netflix or their Substack or their other favorite subscriptions. Okay, so why it worked for us is that we had engaged donors and we had influencers for us. They felt, and they are truly the influencers of the organization. They respond to surveys. They provide testimonials. They become champions on social media. They're your group. They're your crew. You give them a name. I know that I think Charity Waters is the spring. For ours, we chose roots as in the roots of a child, the real inner strength and core comes from the roots. So they are our roots. And you come up with your own based on your own branding or marketing, but make it something special, make it something unique, make it something that makes them feel strong and that they matter, because they do. So for us, this created consistent revenue. In 2024, Roots members contributed to 36% of our operating budget. So this is a third of our revenue. We started with 0, and we've built this community up to 36% of our revenue, which is 36% that I don't have to lose sleep over. I can breathe easier for that. That's my core group. And again, start small, build your community, and then allow your community to build it with you. The best thing of all is that it feels ethical. It feels like there's integrity at the center. It feels that children are safe, educated, loved, cared for, and that you're doing the right thing. And there aren't those weird, like, kind of savioristic things that are problematic with sponsorship and with the old model of charity. And yeah, it feels good, it works, and it's been an incredible part of our process. So those are my insider tips. And I, at this point, think that we can all have conversation and questions, and I hope that this is helpful. I'm always here.
So helpful. Okay, I'm popping on, and I wasn't going to do this, but I just love this. Okay, y'all, obviously I am not live as I'm here presenting with you. We pre-recorded this. It's early in the morning in Atlanta. We're on totally different time zones. Maggie, this is incredible. I have a couple of questions, and I do want to leave time for everybody else in the room for us to just talk about what you shared. Something that comes to mind for me is you have this incredible Roots circle of giving. Do they get to interact with each other in any capacity?
Yes, but not much for us lately. I mean, so we have a sort of committee structure where they are a group and we have someone kind of assigned there. The most interaction.
What do you mean by that? Like there's a committee, like a Roots committee?
Yeah, so there's a Roots committee with it's sort of like our fundraising committee, and we definitely are strategic about having someone running that team from the communication side, from the fundraising side, that's helping them kind of build their team. But I wouldn't say that they interact a whole lot. I would say, like, on the Zoom stakeholders, they kind of get to know each other.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, I think there would be more interaction and time to come together, but for us, not so much. No, there hasn't been a whole lot of inner communication between the group.
Okay, this is something I'm definitely looking into as far as there's been so much growth in technology. And I know there's lots of platforms that exist for community building, but having a seamless way for monthly donors to interact with each other, because I think that's super powerful. So I was just curious. So hopefully more on this soon. I love
one thing we do is we highlight the monthly donors. We post them on social media and we ask them, why do you give? We also give them like special asks, like, hey, can you rate us on Charity Navigator? So we try to, I call them out is the wrong word, but just highlight who they are as a group, because we learned that showing like, oh, it's a 13-year-old who's doing her babysitting money. Yeah. It's a Uber driver in San Francisco who donates one day of driving a week to a cause he believes in his home country. Like, we've used it in that way as far as storytelling, I would say.
That's amazing. Is there a consistent cadence of stewardship for acquiring new donors, or do you have like specific moments during the year, or both, that you look to grow the program?
That's a really good question. We do 2 strategic times during the year. One would be like a back to school moment, or like, oh, it's Valentine's Day, let's make a special ask that we anchor around Valentine's Day. Or if we have a match running, like, hey, if you sign up to be a match donor. But it's generally like, we wouldn't compete with year-end fundraising when we're just in the hustle and bustle. We kind of pull it out, and we're not constantly like inundating people with an ask to become a Roots member. Maybe we could do more, but we tend to be really strategic and make like 2 to 3 strong asks a year of asking people to consider joining the program.
Okay, amazing. 2 more questions for you, and then stop.
So we are going to stop there because I want to give Maggie from the Food Bank of the Rockies time to present her case study as well. So happy to share that video with those that are in the room following the summit. But Maggie, I wanted to introduce you. She'll walk us through their stewardship strategies and how they've achieved an impressive 90% retention rate. So Maggie, I will let you take it away.
Thank you so much. I am so thrilled to be here. I've been taking so many notes, and now I'm like, man, I need to get some monthly donor profiles on our social media. I love that idea of spotlighting monthly donors. Okay, well, I'm Maggie. I work at Food Bank of the Rockies, and we are one of the food banks in Colorado. We serve 33 counties, and also Food Bank of the Wyoming as well. So we're pretty big. We have a lot of space to cover. And I am just going to share our little case study. So let's hope that my share screen is going to work like a normal thing. Okay. Here we go. All right. Now, just so you guys know, I can no longer see you. So I hope, please don't talk bad about me. All right. So this segment is scaling stewardship, retaining 90% of 5,000 plus monthly donors through automation and community focus. This is a little intro to me. My name is Maggie. I'm the Donor Stewardship and Recognition Officer, super long title. I started working with monthly donors in 2021, so I still feel new to the space. I'm always learning something. I'm a community-centric fundraiser, which if you don't know what that means, look it up. It's very cool. And I have 2 Great Danes, 2 cats, and I like to bake. I also am passionate about feeding people, which is why I work at Food Bank of the Rockies. So let me give you a little bit of history of where we were when I first joined the team. So here's some reflection data, just some historical of where we were. So when I joined, it was the end of our fiscal year 2021. And this is about where our program was. We had about 2,500 monthly donors. Those all came in organically through COVID. Like we just inherited them. We didn't really have a program. We just kind of had some options and people were keen to sign up. And they recognized that it would be helpful to have a staff person to kind of dedicate to that program. So we were already bringing in over $1 million in sustainer revenue with an average gift amount of $44. And then insert me. My first thing was find the monthly donors, track them in the CRM, figure out who they are, and then I individually reached out to every person. By the end of fiscal year 2022, we had over 4,000 monthly donors. And our sustainer revenue was going up. Our average gift amount was going up. So it was looking pretty good for us. And then we just kept going. So here's where we are now. Our growth is slower in terms of acquiring donors. We have multiple reasons why we think that is. Maybe because we kind of have an always on philosophy and we've kind of saturated the, people we can ask to be monthly donors that are on our file. But right now we have 5,500 plus monthly donors, growing all the time in a sustainer acquisition campaign right now. So just got a few more. And our retention rates month to month go from 86 to 91. They have been over 90 for the past 4 months, which over the holidays is crazy. I had to rerun those numbers several times to make sure they were right. And then our sustainer revenue is looking strong to end the fiscal year at $3.5 million, which is so cool. And our average gift amount's going up $59.55. And I just want to share this additional gift number. I was so afraid to start asking monthly donors to give additionally outside of the 12 times a year they're already giving. I was terrified. Our digital marketing firm, shout out to them, M&R, was like, listen, you need to ask them. I was like, fine, let's see how it goes. Went really well. So first we started asking, we got over $100,000 in additional gifts. And now this year, they just shared this number with me last week, over $251,000 just from additional gifts from monthly donors. And that's about 10% of our file. So hopefully people are feeling really proud to be a monthly donor and valued. These are just some little graphs to kind of show how much we've gone up, and particularly when we got a staff member focused on the program. And it's not that there's a lot of teamwork involved, but somebody just to answer their questions, I think that's when we really started to see the most growth here. And we also saw all of our potatoes go up. Just kidding. Our average gift amount is going up. So everything is just kind of trending upwards, which is scary because something's going to happen. Okay, so how did we do it? Well, we have a dedicated staff member for the program. That's me, the one person for them to ask all of their questions to. We identified our sustainers. I probably should have put that as number one. That was hard. And then we are also doing a lot of teamwork. We have an awesome marketing and communications team, data team that's putting in gifts and real time. and our M&R, our digital marketing firm. So, I mean, we are stacked, and I am just so lucky to work with a cool team. Another thing we do is we recognize our donor status as monthly, which is why I had to give a shout out to my marketing team, because they have to make a different version for almost everything they do for monthly donors, to just recognize that we know that they're giving 12 times a year. We made a stewardship plan and a donor journey that we follow, and is also aspirational. We do a lot of automated emails and personal touch points, and that's what I'm going to hit on in a little bit. And then community resources, I think, was so important for me. Things like this summit, people like Dana and Erica, who I know is here, but probably not in my session. Just amazing people to, coordinate, share ideas with. I've learned a lot from my other Feeding America food banks. And I'm so thankful for all of us sharing information. It's so cool. All right, so here's the types of automations that we do at Food Bank of the Rockies. So these are the things that make it easy for me. As soon as somebody signs up online, they get a new monthly donor email that just comes from the system. We have a welcome series set up, which is a series of 5 emails that I'll briefly go over in a minute. We send out monthly receipts. I find that to be a little bit for transparency, so they know that, for sure your monthly donation went through this month. We do failed payment notification. So if our system's credit card declines, it automatically sends an email to them saying, hey man, please update your card. We have credit card expiration alerts. I think people are finding those a little bit annoying, but they start 90 days from when their credit card's going to expire. And then they get another one in 60 days. They get another one in 30 days. And they get another one the month that their credit card is expiring. Just trying to get ahead of that churn. They also get a confirmation email if they choose to cancel, whether they do that on their own or I do that for them. We do some anniversary emails that are automatically sent from our system. And then we do monthly newsletters and an annual report. Why do I use so many automated emails? It's for retention. I think it's really helping that retention rate. And I'm going to steal this quote from some people on my team. Be kind to your future self. Automated emails are so helpful if you can set them up on a schedule. If you get sick or whatever happens, it's also you're ready to go when your program grows. Like, I'm ready. I tell my team all the time, bring me thousands more monthly donors. Like, I'm set up. I am ready to go. I am not afraid of growth. It assists if there's staffing changes. If I used to say run over by a bus, but if I win the lottery, let's say, someone needs to take over, it's simple. It's simple for them to take this over. And if you do it the right way, those emails can still have a personal feel. So this is just a little bit about our welcome series. We have a welcome series with conditional inputs for monthly donors. It's a series of 5 emails, and it's focused on impact and other ways to support, like volunteering. Their first email reminds monthly donors about the gift service center, where they can go in and change their gift themselves, update their payment. We also ask people to opt into the monthly newsletter, and we make sure that they are not being asked to be a monthly donor. These are just we're just going to go through some examples of what we send. And hopefully you guys all get copies of these slides. And if you don't, reach out to me. I'm happy to share any of these examples with you. So the first one on the left, I'm dyslexic, so I hope that's right, is what happens when their gift doesn't go through. They get an email from our CEO and it says, call here, email here, or click here to do it yourself. And then this is an example of our expiring credit card notification here on the right, which is just like, hey, your credit card's coming up to expire. Here's how you can update it. So we'll talk a little bit about personal touch points and why I mix them in. So automated emails aren't humans. And as much as we set them up, it's still nice to hear from a person. Emails getting smarter. It's sending us to spam folders. Man, I'm in so many people's spam folders. Like, please check your spam folder for your annual statement. Some donors have opted out of emails completely, so you need to find other ways to reach them. And it makes donors feel more connected when they have a designated person to go to. And also, if you're data driven, you can start to see who's responding to which types of communications and set up a more strategic plan. So this is the type of personal outreach we do at Food Bank of the Rockies. So immediately, I try to do this within 24 business hours of them signing up. They get an email intro with me that's like, hey, thank you, I'm your person, please reach out to me if you have any questions. Here's how you cancel, here's how you update your gift. And I also ask them why they joined. I have a little PS in there, and that's always really cool to get those responses and see like why people really care about other people. We send quarterly stewardship and cultivation emails. So a lot of those are impact driven. Some of it is like a recipes, things like that. We do 2 mailings a year. I do those really specifically for the people that aren't getting email. That is a recipe postcard and then also a holiday card when we have the budget. We do lapse payment follow-up ourselves. So the system does send them an automated email, but in case that goes their spam mail, they also get an email from me, or a phone call if I don't have their email, or a letter if I don't have their email, at saying, hey, your payment didn't go through. Here's some ways to fix that. We have a recapture postcard. So for folks that maybe let their credit card go, it did end up expiring, they just didn't get the email, they didn't re-sign up, we have a postcard that we send out to them that's personal that says, please come back. We do thank-a-thons. Sometimes we do that with our staff, and sometimes we use vendors to call our monthly donors and tell them thank you. And then annual statements are another huge touch point. It's something we promise our monthly donors that they're going to get is their statement of giving for the end of the year. Those actually come from my Outlook instead of Luminate. So it's a lot of work, but I think it's worth it. This is our stewardship plan. This is it. It's this simple. It's like, here's what we do ongoing. Here are all of the touch points that I basically went over. And then I have some aspirational things on there, like monthly donor appreciation events, which have been on hold because we have so many donors, and which is such a great problem to have. Also, we're doing a capital campaign. And so when we get the new building, I feel like we can have more room for folks, hoping it'll work out that way. Next slide is our anniversary email. So this is what we get to do through Luminate. We're switching platforms soon, but we get this nice moving graphic. We update this once a year, and it says happy anniversary. And this is the month you began your sustaining gifts. When we change platforms, I'm really looking forward to saying like, thank you for giving for 25 years or whatever their year amount is. But right now, as something about data mapping, something specific will not let us do that. So we send these. These have gotten a really good response too, and a nice open rate. This is an example of our recipe card. I think this is so cool. I love doing this so much. Peaches in Colorado, if you guys don't know, are awesome. And they come out in August. That's when they're ripe and ready to go. So we're doing a peach recipe every summer for monthly donors. And we partner with what we call celebrity chefs, our own personal celebrity chefs here in Colorado. And we ask them to submit a peach recipe that we can share with our donors. And then we send them a postcard, and we also email them a recipe that they can print. This is that lapsed postcard, a recapture postcard, if you will, that just says we appreciate you and asks people to come back. It's personally addressed in personal handwriting as well. This is an example of those awesome annual statement emails I get to send out, and just what it kind of looks like. We use it to, in a way, as our annual report, kind of. We just kind of sum up what we did in the year and then tell them thank you and give them a summary. I just wanted to share some tips for some people starting out. It's, determining who your monthly donors are is the first part, and segmenting them out, creating a stewardship plan. You can further segment by giving channel, and make sure you review those automated emails once or twice a year and make sure that messaging is still correct and the links are still correct. And even if you don't have a fancy CRM, get with me about mail merge. I've had to use it a million times, and sometimes it's a lifesaver and sometimes it's a waste of time. And that's it. So thank you so much. I can't believe I got to be here. This is crazy. Keep in touch with me on LinkedIn. I will help anybody do anything. So thank you so much for being part of this community. It's so important and cool to be with all of these change makers. Thank you.
Maggie, that was amazing. You have so many awesome tips and tricks for all of these organizations. We have time for one question. I actually have one for you. The peaches just got me thinking. I'm so curious for everyone in here who's thinking about doing a creative partnership. How did you start that conversation with that chef?
Oh man, we're the luckiest. We have these really cool partnerships that just kind of, again, working with food makes it so much easier to have organic relationships with chefs. But we do an event every year, and it's called Gather and Sew. And it's like a farm to table event with local chefs. And we just have some great contacts that have introduced us to all these chefs. And I mean, shout out to Melanie, who's my boss, who's on here, who brought in Gabby Gourmet. And we're just lucky. I don't know, lucky. We built it, and this is a great way to continue that partnership on outside of that event too. Keep those chefs engaged.
I love the creativity and thinking outside of the box. And like Maggie said, she seems very open to sharing everything that she presented today, but this will all be available in replays after. You will all get the email to be able to rewatch this and take tons of notes on everything that she just presented. So really appreciate you sharing your strategies and insights, Maggie. Super, super just insightful for everyone. So that wraps our case study session today. Thank you to both Maggies for sharing their expertise. Before we go, I do want to share one quick reminder. Give Butter is offering 5 $1,000 scholarships to the upcoming monthly giving mastermind. So if you are a Give Butter user or you're looking to switch to their platform, please apply for the summer mastermind starting in July. The application link is in the chat on the main stage below the video.